Today I'll give you an overview of Azul Duel, a two-player only game by Michael Kiesling and Plan B Games released through its Next Move brand. This game was released in late February 2025, and it is unlike anything else that you have seen from Michael Kiesling and Plan B Games. Like nothing else. Here's the setup in the first of 5 rounds in Azul Duel, with each player having their own player board, upon which you will tile a ceiling in the 6x6 space available to you with these tiles that come in 5 colors and start on factories. The exact tiles you take and where you will put them will depend upon the choices that you and your opponent make over the course of play. To finish setup, you start with the second person in the first round. We'll say that's me. I choose one of the available ceiling tiles and add it to my board in the orientation that I want in any of the 9 spaces available. And reveal a new tile. You are going to choose one as well. And now we're set to begin play. On a turn, you are going to take one of 4 actions available to you, with 2 of those actions relating to the taking of tiles from the factories. You can, first option, choose the sun portion of a factory, the yellow portion, choose a color, and take all the tiles of a color from that sun portion. You now add them to one of the 6 rows on your board. If there's not enough room for all the tiles you take, you put the excess down here and you'll lose points for them at the end of the round. Try not to do that if you can help it. You probably want to place these here because you've got 2 dark blue tiles. You have a space for a dark blue tile here, but you will fill this space only if you fill this row. When you take tiles from the sun portion of a small factory, and there are 4 small factories, 1 large factory, you stack the remaining tiles and place them on this bonus marker. Each small factory starts with 1 bonus marker. So I take my turn. I don't want to leave these 2 for you because you could easily complete your row. I also need 2 dark blue tiles to complete this row here. I stack these. They're both yellow, so it doesn't matter the orientation that they go into. If you choose the large factory, so you take the red to mostly complete this row for this space, you take any remaining tiles on the large factory and you place them individually here, not stacked. One of the other options available to you, instead of choosing the sun, you can choose the moon portion of the factories and choose a color and take all the tiles of a color from all of the moons. All the tiles that you see of a particular color. So if I choose yellow, I get this one because I don't see the other one. Dark blue, turquoise, and I can take 2 of this blackish grayish one. Let's say I take these 2. Now, when you take a tile from the moon portion of the large factory, you get the first player marker. I will go first in the next round. I will also lose 2 points for having this. So give and take. First choice, but it costs me. I put these here. I don't have a spot yet for black tiles, but I'm going to draft more ceiling tiles and put them into this area. That'll be option 3. We'll get to that in just a moment. Let's say you want to try to ensure that you complete the dark blue. You take this, put that there. You're going to stack the other tokens this way. No, you're going to put the yellow on top. There you go. Okay. I now will take the third option available to me. Instead of choosing to draft from the sun portion or from the moon portion, I take a ceiling tile. During each of the first 4 rounds, you must take exactly 2 ceiling tiles, and you have these as a reminder. I put this out here, and now I take one of these and orient it as I wish. I want the black to line up here, so I can place here or here. Let's say I do that. Turn over a new one. Instead of taking one of the 3 available tiles, I can spend points to draw from the stack. So I can spend a point and draw this, and I can spend another point and draw this. And I can't look at them yet, but I can spend as many points as I have, up to 5, which is what you start with. And then when I stop, I look at all these tiles, I choose one, I put the remaining ones on the bottom of the stack face order of my choice, and then add one to my grid. And why I would do that is because I am looking for a particular tile combination, which at the start of play, maybe you don't need, but later on, perhaps that's something that will become important. Tiles come in two types. This has a joker space on it, such as this one and this one. And these two have a special space on it, which is shown here. So we'll talk about those in a little bit. So I take a tile, put up a new tile. My turn is done. Your turn now. Maybe you want to draft this red to complete that space. Okay. To complete that row rather. So you know that you will fill this space at the end of the round. On a small factory, after all the tiles are out, you flip over the bonus marker that's there and they will show one or two colors. And twice during the round, you are going to draft a bonus marker. So this is the fourth option available to you. Draft from the sun, draft from all of the moons, draft a ceiling tile, or take a bonus token. And once you've taken two, you cannot take more. So I take that because I don't want you to have it. I'll talk about how to use them in a moment. So maybe you want to go ahead and just complete this blue. You don't want me to take something and put blue on top, and then you'd have to take two blue, and one would end up in this space. Maybe you just take this blue to complete that row. I'm going to take two yellow to go here. Okay. You look at what's available to you here. Maybe you take one turquoise, because now you can say, well, I can take either of these two, put them down here, and all right, have a space for them in the future. I go, let's say I take this yellow, flip this. You decide to take this. I will take this myself to go there. I will stack these up as so. All right, almost at the end. Maybe you want the two red. If you don't want the two red, you could delay by taking this or drafting a ceiling tile. But two tiles is two tiles. Why not take those? You're going to work on something long term. Flip that over. I don't want that. Maybe I delay. I'm going to spin this. Go here. Stack like so. You take your turn. Do you want either of those? Maybe. Or maybe you're just going to start down here. I'll take this. Flip that over. And you take. I take. Yes, you take. Oh, you have taken no ceiling tiles. You still take your turns. I'm done. There's nothing else available for me. I've taken two of these. I've taken two ceiling tiles. But you still have to spend your actions to take those tiles. So take one and then take another one. You want dark blue and red down here. Maybe like so. And flip, and you've got this turquoise one. Okay. Put it like, no, that's a terrible idea. There we go. No, that's even worse. We'll do this one. Talk about why in a moment. All right. We've done all our stuff. Everything's empty. We've done our tiles. End of the round. We now look at our boards, and for starting from top to bottom, any row that's complete, you are going to take the rightmost tile and move it over. So turquoise goes here, or I could put it here. My choice. When you put a tile down and it has no neighbors adjacent, vertically or horizontally, you get 1 point. It's all on its own. This row is not complete, so this doesn't move. This one comes over here, 1 point. This comes over here. If you have vertical or horizontal neighbors, then you count whatever is connected. So I'd get 2 points, or rather, you would get 2 points for this. There's a gap, so this one doesn't count. These rows are complete. These go away. And that's it. Okay, not complete, not complete. I do mine. 1 point for that. Oh, I didn't actually spend anything. I come here, 2 points for this. 1 point for that. And this is not complete. So the bonus tokens can help you complete a row that is not complete. If I had 2 bonus tokens that had yellow on them, I could stack them up. Essentially, I have 2 half yellow tiles, stack them up and put them here, and that'd be my 4th token, and I'd move this over. But they are not both yellow. You can take any 3 bonus tokens and use them to fill a space. You must be able to have, you must have at least 1 tile of that color. So in theory, I could take 2 with yellow and put them there, and any 3 and put them there, and any 3 and put them there, and complete all that. But you need 1 to start. I can't just take 3 and put them up here for the color of my choice. So not complete. These are done. The round is over. Goes back here. Put the tokens down. Refill the factories, and then I will go first in the next round. And you're trying to score lots of points during play. There is very little in-game scoring. You're going to put these out. There are 13 of each color, so you will see pretty much all of those tiles over the first 3 rounds. Oh, hey. All right. Drawing at random there. So I get first choice. This is one reason that you may care about spending those 2 points, which I completely forgot about for when you take first player option. So I gain 1, I gain 2 more, I gain 1, and then I lose 2 for first player. I gained only 2, you gain 4. Are you ahead? Are you not? We'll see. But I get first choice. I can just take these 4 immediately, drop them down here to work on this 6 yellow space. This flips over immediately because now it's empty. And we're going to keep taking turns back and forth. You obviously want to complete this. There's not even enough red right now to complete this, but maybe you just take those 2 to work on it, hide the yellow so I don't have it available. I, of course, want to thwart you, so I'll take those. Do that. And we continue. Okay, we don't have to play all of this out. You would love to have 4 red to complete this. You know, otherwise you're not going to complete this turn. I did not set you up with a red at the bottom here. Put that in the wrong orientation. Let's put that there. Okay. I'm going to keep going, but I don't have to show you much else at the moment. This space can be filled by any color. This space is filled only when the other 3 spaces are filled. So at the end of the round, I'm going to move this red over. I will score 2 points because there's 2 tiles in this row. There's only 1 here, so we don't worry about that. But 2 points for this. And now that these 3 spaces are filled, I drop in 1 of these bonus tokens. And you score as many points as the row that it's in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's in the second row, so I score 2 points. It doesn't matter that it's connected this way and this way. It's just 2 points because it's in the second row. But if I did take 1 more yellow and I had filled this row, or I used 2 tokens to fill this row, this now comes over. It's in a row of 4, and so I'd get 4 points for that. So you're trying to group all the tiles together because you will score them over and over again. If I was able to complete this dark blue, now I'd score 5 points. If I move this over when this is full, now that's 6 points. So you were trying to complete things in a nice order in order to score lots of points. If I did this first, that's 1, and then I do this and that's 6. The other way, 5 then 6. So I would lose 4 points by not doing it in the proper order. All right. We continue play through 5 rounds. Now, the bag will run out at the start of the 4th round. There will be 2 tiles left. You take everything that's in here from all the completed rows, add it back to the bag, and then you will fill up the factories. After the 4th round, you will have a complete layout here with 9 tiles, and you will no longer have that option available to you because all of the tiles will be gone. There are exactly 18. They will all be drafted. And for the 5th round, you have the option, take tiles off the sun, take tiles off the moon, and take bonus tokens. The bonus tokens just pile up here, and you spend them when you wish to complete a row. So you have them in reserve. Obviously, the ones with 2 colors are better than the ones with 1 color. You don't know what you're going to get until they've flipped over. And so sometimes you're trying to engineer it so that you get first shot, but that depends upon someone else taking the tile off. So sometimes you want to make attractive options for your opponent to take something to leave you a better option. Maybe I'm okay taking these 2, put this here and give you 2 black tiles. Maybe I'm gonna, depending on how things work out, maybe I set this up here so you get 3 black tiles because I don't want to do this and lose 2 points. Lots of choices available to you as you're trying to build up your grid. All of the scoring takes place during the game, only by dropping tiles into the grid, scoring 1 point if it's on its own, or whatever the horizontal and vertical is. Ideally, you can complete lots of things at once. So if I end up with this here, and in a future round, I have this yellow and this dark blue. I drop the yellow over here, I get 3 points. I drop the dark blue over here, I get 2 points for the column and 3 for the horizontal, so 5 points total. So again, you're trying to pile everything in, connect it to score the most points. And at the end of the game, you get bonus here, 3 points if you have a completed row, 7 points if you have a completed column, and 10 points if you have a completed diagonal. You might notice these require 6 tiles to complete a row, column, or diagonal. But during the game, you can fill only 5 spaces in a row, column, or diagonal because tiles sit here until the end of the round and then they move over. So at most, you are going to place tiles into a particular row 5 times. Okay. So if you want to complete a row, you need to have this here in order to do that. You need to have this special space so that in the future, I can end up having a dark blue there and red there. And if I finally drop a turquoise in here, then this will be filled automatically. And now I've completed the row. Otherwise, you are not going to complete a row. These spaces also make it easier to do the diagonal and the vertical. Okay. That's the only in-game scoring. That's it. You know everything there is. I'll mention now 2 graphic issues that I've had playing the game. First is the bonus token construction. They are punched out from a cardboard sheet and they're printed the wrong way. I'm going to put quotes around that so that when you touch them, they are liable to flip over. Right? So you have to be careful as you're moving them around. You pick one up and I flipped this over. And now I got to put this over and I got to shuffle it. If they had been printed the other way up, which was certainly a possibility, they do not flip the way that they do the first way. So that's unfortunate. The other unfortunate bit is that the black and the dark blue look very similar on the board, and this looks more like a violet than a dark blue. So some people I've played with have had trouble seeing the difference between those. So you just have to point that out while you're playing. I think that's it. And as soon as I said that, I knew that wasn't the end. The game actually has 4 endgame bonus tiles, not just 3, and they're double-sided, so you can have some variety of bonuses during play. These 3 are starred and recommended for your first games, but you can always choose to just take them and randomize whatever is out there. So we have the 7 and 10 like before, and now we're going to have these 2. Here you score 4 points if you have all 5 of the tile colors in a horizontal row. And you can score this multiple times as you can with this and this. Here you score 2 points per joker space in your ceiling, but only if they're all covered. If any are empty, you score no points. So that could affect your drafting, as can this one. You lose 3 points for each special space that is unfilled at the end of play. The other bonuses, you score 1 point for each tile in the perimeter of your ceiling. You score 3 points if the dome tile is filled in the left corner of your board or the upper right corner. If it's lower left or lower right, you get 8 points for filling that because it is much more challenging to do that. There's an overview of Azul Duel, which I played 3 times on a review copy from Asmodee, which is distributing this title around the world. And contrary to what I said at the start of this video, this is actually the 6th title in a game series by Michael Kiesling and Next Move Games. But you probably already know that because the original game, Azul, debuted in 2017 to tremendous success. It debuted at the Spiel Game Convention in Essen, Germany, and I ran into so many people at that convention who had said, you have to go try this game. It's fantastic. You'll love it. People talked about it endlessly. It went on to win the 2018 Spiel des Jahres Award, Germany's Game of the Year Award. It sold 18,000 copies since then. It's been translated into so many different languages. And there's been multiple spin-off games every couple of years since then, because why not? The game's a huge success. Let's give people more of what they like, because that's often what sells. You take something that's familiar, put a little twist on it, and people want more of the thing they already like. That's a little bit different. So we get a lot of book series and movie series and music remixes, all sorts of other art is taking something that we know and like that's a little different. So that's what Kiesling and Next Move have done, releasing Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra, and Summer Pavilion, and Queen's Garden, and Master Chocolatier, and now Azul Duel. And while the other games were all for 2 to 4 players, this is 2-player only. And that's not because they're riding on a trend that's happened recently in the game industry where you have a game that's been successful for a while and then you come out with a 2-player only version of it, blah, blah, duel, blah, blah, duo, whatever it is. There's been a fair number of those titles released, but that was not the case here. I spoke with an Asmodee representative at Spiel Essen in 2024, and they said they had tried this design with 3 players and with 4 players, but you're drafting many other things, and the game took a while. With 3 and 4 players, they didn't think it was a good experience or people would enjoy it. It's going to have bad word of mouth if you're just waiting a long time for your turn because there's so many things to be looking at. So let's make it 2-player only. We'll have fewer components in a smaller box. It'll be a lower price. So it'll be something different. It's more of the same, but now even a little bit different because it's only 2 players. And game designers do this, of course, because you have some concept, some core idea that you want to explore and present in different ways. Book series, movie series, often you're following characters over time. They're traveling, they're going to different locations, you're exploring this world. Whatever it is, you're moving along. But games are much more like you have a concept, this idea, and then you want to iterate on it in different ways. So Azul, when you boil it down, is you are drafting tokens in one color from one location. That's how I think of Azul. You're just boiling it down to that. I'm taking some, next player, next player, next player, and so on. And you're often trying to think, do I need to take this now? Can I wait till later? If I wait till later, will I get more? Because in the original Azul, you had tiles on factories. When something was taken off a factory, everything else was pushed in the middle of the table. So the number of tokens in that middle would fluctuate over time, and you gotta what's the right time to go get the thing you want, or wait and possibly get more. Sometimes get too much and you'll be penalized because you don't have room for everything you're going to pick up. But that's it. It's very streamlined core. But you can iterate on that core in many different ways with different drafting systems. You're doing something different with what you take and where you put it, what you score. There's all sorts of stuff that you can explore based on that original concept. And that's what Kiesling is doing here, where I think the main way that this differentiates itself from earlier versions of Azul is that now you're drafting three things. You are creating the field in which you are going to put the tokens. So you have some measure of freedom as to how you're going to set things up. And you can repeat colors in rows and columns, or you can't do that in base Azul. You can do what you want based on whatever is available to you. Okay, then you're drafting tokens. That's kind of the same. It's a little different drafting system, but at heart, it's the same thing. You're drafting tokens, trying to time it in the right way to get the things you want. And then you're drafting the bonus chips to fill in the holes, things that don't quite work out for you. And in theory, that all works perfectly. In practice, over 3 games, we find that we're often leaving the ceiling tiles, the dome plates, until the end of a round. They don't seem as critical to get compared to the tokens, because each player is going to draft 2 ceiling plates, dome plates, ceiling tiles, I use different terms for them, 2 dome plates, and 2 bonus chips. You have to draft 2. You can't take them away from the other player. So if all I need is a red, because I'm collecting red tokens in this row, and there's multiple ceiling tiles with red, I don't have to rush it. If that's my only concern, is to have a place for those red to go. If there is no red in the row, those tiles will just sit there until I put a ceiling tile there and then they'll move over. Or I put a ceiling tile there and there's no red in the entire row, and then I throw them all away and I lose points. So you don't want to do that. But we haven't had trouble finding a ceiling tile with a color we need in order to complete a row, and so we just leave it till the end, which means you're drafting 3 things, but often you're kind of just drafting the 2 things, because the only time we're taking a ceiling plate early before the end of the round is usually as a delaying tactic, because I want the opponent to take something off the stack in the small factory, off the moon area, which means I can then take 2 or 3 of something. I know they need it. They should take that off, and then I can get those 2 or 3 things. But they don't. So I take a ceiling tile to delay. And hopefully this time they'll do that. So it's kind of this in-between thing and not a critical element. It is critical in that you can fail if you make terrible choices with your ceiling tiles, but we haven't found it critical during the round while we're crafting our rows. And the bonus chips serve an important purpose. They give you a little flexibility in how you're doing things and filling in that last gap in a row. And yet we often find ourselves leaving those till the end of the round as well, because someone will clear out a factory and then it's half a turquoise and I'm not collecting turquoise. So, all right, I'll just go do something else. The tokens are the limited resource. Those are the things that you really want to grab first, because if I don't get it, you get it, which means you are likely to complete more rows and get more stuff into your ceiling and score more points. Ceiling tiles I'm going to get to, bonus chips I'm going to get to, but the tokens are the limited thing, and that's still the focus of the game, with the other stuff being kind of extra elements. That's how some of my opponents have described it. I've played 3 times, each with a different person, and 2 of them had said it's more complicated than what they had expected, and almost feels like there's one element that could be stripped out and then make everything a little more streamlined. And I get what they're saying, and partly it comes to mind with the ceiling tiles, where it's important because it is an aspect of you controlling what you're doing, and yet it's kind of an afterthought in that you can usually just make what you want anyway. At least that's been in my experience over 3 games. And possibly we're just terrible players because the score track goes up to 200 and the scores in our 3 games have been 68-67, right? 1 point victory. Next game, 68-65, 3 point victory, same winning score. I was really worried about the third game, and the third game was like low 90s, mid 80s. Okay, so more points, more successful, a bit more distance between the 2 scores. So maybe we can get better. We can do better than what we have been doing. We haven't been playing well, and possibly I'm just missing that aspect of it. Maybe it is more critical to get the ceiling tile and set up something and so that I can push the colors together and stack and build and score off one another just constantly. Maybe I haven't been doing that efficiently enough. Maybe I've been focusing too much on the vertical bonus of 7 points, the diagonal bonus of 10, to the detriment of better scores by smushing everything together. That's definitely a possibility. So, yeah, it's Azul with more stuff going on because you do have these balance elements to consider. And possibly, as well, I'm just not paying enough attention to my opponent's board. I'm often looking to see what tokens they need to complete a row and what bonus tokens they need to complete a row, bonus chips they need to complete a row, so that maybe I can take something they need if I can also find a use for it, which you often can because you're not locked into using a color only once in a row. I can draft ceiling tiles and put it in there. So maybe I can take something away from them, but I haven't been paying attention to what they need in the ceiling, except I'll be like, they need a dark blue, and there's 2 things with dark blue, and I can't take both of them, so I'm just not going to take any of them right now. I'll just take the tokens and worry about that limited resource. So it works, and yet it feels like there's not the tension evenly across all the elements. They're not all valued equally based on my limited experience. I've also only played with the standard bonus tiles, 3 points, 7 points, 10 points. Haven't tried the others because if I'm introducing the game to someone, I always go with the basic rules, the suggested starter element, because I assume it's there for a reason. So let's give that a try. So it's all there. It's just a little bit more going on. And maybe that's what you want. You want Azul with more, in which case you can increase the volume a little bit and give yourself more of a challenge, trying to get things out there. You got a 6x6 board, makes it a little harder to get things filled because it is bigger and the game is locked at 5 rounds. You're not continuing until you meet some other endgame condition. 5 rounds, you're out. So you got to work with that and do the best you can.